Welcome to Sound Values, powered in part by LSA Burger and Classic of Denton.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in live tonight on DentonRadio.com. We are located in the beautiful Discover Denton Welcome Center on the ever-cooling Denton Square. Winter is upon us, folks, as you can see by my boy's toque right here. Speaking of my boy right here, we've got the boy JKay.
What's up, man?
In the house right now. Good to have you out here, man.
Thanks for having
For those
me.
of you who don't know, JKay is a producer, mostly of the what we would call lo-fi beats, but I call them very experimental, a lot of naturalistic sounds, a lot of fantastic vibes. And before we jump right into the interview, the first and the last thing I want to find out is where people can listen to your music.
All right, so as of now, I got all my music up on Bandcamp. You can find me JKay.
And that's JKay?
JKay.
Okay, cool.
Simple as that.
Just
and
like in the comments. Got it.
And then same thing on SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm. And then if people want to find you on Instagram, where can they look that up?
They can look me up, JKayOenig.
All right.
And
cool.
the same thing on Twitter.
All right. There you go, folks. So if you want to hear what this man has to say or you want to hear what the beats are sounding like, go ahead, tune right into all those channels right there. So let's get down into it, man, because we're here to talk music tonight. We're here to talk your musical journey. I met you almost 6 months ago. Actually, no, way longer.
It was
ago.
like,
that was like
November
of last year.
Because it was like
It's
the
almost
first
been a year, yeah.
laser wave.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, and you're 100%. And yeah, I remember this too because it was when I had just bought my car in October of last year.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember that was the first thing I drove to was that.
Yeah.
Like I was like, Sanford, get in the car, we're going, man. So I met y'all down there, and that's where I met someone. That's where I met Leaf Beach. That's where I met Memory. That's where I met Cursive. That's where I met a lot of the guys who I had actually been listening to for a little while on SoundCloud. Leaf Beach, especially Sanford, knew who Memory was.
Yeah.
But that was a good time, man.
Same here, actually, because I knew Tristan initially for show, but through that, I met all those guys.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
It's a cool little outlet.
Yeah, yeah. And so those guys have all come up here into Denton, have played now.
Yeah.
Like I said, Memory's been on the show. One day, if Leaf Beach comes back up, he's not down in Austin, we'll have him out here as well. But I wanted to get you on the show, man, kind of talk to you, find out the musical journey, where you started, and what kind of keeps you going in the beat world as well, man. So the first question that I always ask everybody was, what was kind of your first musical memory, that first time you experienced music and it really touched you?
I was a young kid. I started when I was I think I was 5. I got my first drum set for Christmas.
Nice.
Because I was a big Led Zeppelin fan.
Ooh,
through my dad. My
Yeah.
dad's a big music head, so he put me onto all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember my first love was playing drums. And
Yeah,
I was
for
obsessed
sure.
with that, but my mom hated that so loud. But yeah, really started there.
That's cool. Do you think, see, I liked drums as a kid as well. What do you think it is that attracted you to percussion necessarily?
I think had the physicality of it. Yeah.
Was just how much movement. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, there was just.
And it felt like you really put your emotion into what you were doing.
Yeah, you know, and I didn't know a whole lot about the guitar and stuff. The first time I ever saw a drummer live, that's when I said I want to be a drummer.
Yeah.
You know, I think I was 6, maybe 7 years old. And my dad ran this athletic club. They had a party at the athletic club, and the drummer gave me sticks because I thought it was awesome, you know?
Yeah.
And so there was something about it, just like you said, that like the physicality, the sounds that the snare made, just boom, made a lot of sense to me. So how long did you play the drums for? Was this short-lived?
I played on that little mini set for 4 years.
Nice.
And then didn't have a new one for almost 6 years.
Oh,
but
wow.
I kept the cymbals.
Okay.
My dad got me a set of Zildjians.
Okay,
so
nice.
I had those. So it took me a while to get a bigger set, but
What was the separation, the 6 years?
I was skateboarding a lot.
Yeah,
So
something else-
I wasn't really
something else
active
took over?
with the music stuff so much as I got into skateboarding.
Yeah.
But then once I got into high school, I got back into music.
Okay. Yeah, and do you feel like skateboarding, did you keep skating? Did that kind of lead you back into music? Because the fusions of, either punk rock or emo rock or whatever you want to call it, however you want to generalize it, and skating kind of infused for a while.
Yeah, the cultures definitely go hand in hand. I think growing up with the skate rats and all the music that they listen to, and just kind of the punk rock I don't care mentality.
Yeah.
I really like that, and I don't know. I think that had a big influence on me for sure.
Yeah, I feel like as a kid, you know, like everybody kind of has the music that they get drawn to, you know. But I kind of had the blend of different stuff that I liked, you know.
Yeah.
If it had emotion and like clicked with me in that way, that's when I was like, ooh, that's raw, you know, like this is good. And that's what I liked about punk and even some screamo, and then stuff that I liked about the hip hop that I was listening to, you know, stuff more like Method Man and Redman and that kind of stuff that I wasn't supposed to be listening to. Even early Eminem, you know, some people rip on him now, but what I liked about him was just the inflection in that voice. It was so intense and hit so hard, you know.
It was really like mean stuff.
Yeah.
I really liked that like hardcore vibe. I was super big, like I said, like Led Zeppelin, that's like my first band that I really loved, but I was super big into Linkin Park and Green Day.
Yeah.
That was like my elementary school era, and then middle school my sister put me onto like hip hop stuff because she downloaded a bunch of stuff illegally.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the Napster days.
Yep.
So she got like all the Lil Wayne stuff and then downloaded it on an iPod, and I was like listening to all that. I was like, oh, there's a whole new world of music. I haven't heard this stuff really.
When I was in the 7th grade, there was a kid named Ryan Desso. I'll never forget this kid. He was one of the funniest kids I ever met. And he just came up to me one day and he was like, LaCroix. And I was like, what's up? He's like, the block is hot. And that was a Lil Wayne song. And I can still remember hearing that track for the first time. And I'm not the biggest Lil Wayne fan, but every time I hear that song, it's just nostalgia back to, 12, 13 years old with this hilarious kid, Ryan Desso, just come in after football practice singing The Block is Hot.
The Block is Hot.
Yeah. So you started skating, took about 6 years. What time in high school did you get a drum set back?
I got my drum set back sophomore year.
Yeah. And did you jump right into a band, or how did you kind of start getting back into it?
I was never in a band. I was always just doing it solo.
That's
and
cool.
Just practicing and jamming out on that. But through playing drums, I was like, there has to be more to this. So I was messing around on GarageBand. And that's when I was like, oh, whoa, you can do all this stuff on the computer, and you don't have to have it. You don't have to actually have a guitar and a piano. You can do it right here. So that was I think that was like sophomore year, around the time I got my second drum set, that I was like, whoa, there's so much more stuff that I could be doing. And that's where it started.
It's amazing what you can do nowadays with a computer.
Yeah.
And, that's why you have kids in their room who can pump out dance hits. It's right here.
Yeah.
And it's even in Ableton, you can do a trick where you can make everything the certain scale you want it to be.
Yeah.
So
you don't have to have a background in theory or anything.
Not at all. No, It doesn't hurt if you want to do certain things.
Right.
Don't get me wrong.
But you can learn without knowing anything about music.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very interactive, and there's a lot of helpful tips and YouTube videos or all this stuff, so you can learn it without knowing anything and having a real background in it.
And so once it's funny you say GarageBand, because I feel like a lot of people, that's their first thing is they find GarageBand, which I was always mad at Windows because they never had anything like that for us Windows kids. I was like, man, what? Why didn't y'all, even the movie makers terrible? This is ridiculous. So I remember I had friends who had that, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. How did you kind of start to integrate your knowledge of drums into using GarageBand? What did you first start to do with it?
I was just I actually started, the first time I used it was on a school computer.
Okay.
So we were just messing around. It was actually my AV production class. And we were supposed to be editing sound, but I was like, whoa, you can do all this other stuff on it. So I was just I realized you could play the drums, all the little kits on there with the keys. And I was just messing around with rhythms that I knew on the set and applying it to that. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so when would you say you started trying to when did you say you just started trying to make beats?
Really trying to make beats was after I discovered Madlib.
Okay.
So that was
when was that?
That was summer going into junior year.
Okay.
And I heard the Mad Villainy album, and I was like, whoa.
So how did you stumble across something like that,
I think I saw it on a Reddit thread.
Oh, okay.
And then I got that, and then I heard that, and then I heard Quasimodo, and I was like, whoa, this Madlib guy, he's really cool.
Yeah.
So I was trying to emulate because like after I discovered him, I discovered like the whole world of sampling and all that. So I actually like have a whole tape in the vault somewhere that I never put out, but it's like the same samples that used on Mad Villain.
Yeah.
And like, I flipped those in a different way, but used the same samples.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of paying homage to that
Exactly.
record that put you onto it, but doing it
Exactly.
in your own way.
And like, I think that was like a really good learning experience because I was also trying to do some of like the same like type of techniques and rhythms that he was doing. And like that taught me, I was like, whoa, this is how you do that. And this is how you like chop the sample in that way.
Yeah.
So just trying to do that taught me a lot.
You know, a lot of people I've talked to, they're like, oh man, the first time I heard beats like this was Madlib or Jay Dilla. And then a lot of that, they're like, well, also it was when I'd be watching Adult Swim on Cartoon Network. You'd hear the bumps.
Yeah.
And even the other night, I was watching the Boondocks. I was like, man, I haven't watched this show in a while. Let's see if it still holds up. So I started at season 1, and I was paying attention to the music, and there's just these great beats going on behind. And I was like, man, I never paid attention to it like that.
Yeah.
When I was in high school and I was listening to hip hop, it was mostly I was paying attention to the lyrics, you know.
Yeah.
That's what and it wasn't even necessarily like I liked the way guys bounced in and out around the beats, you know, when it came to rapping. And then once I got older and I had a buddy who killed it on the keys and was in GarageBand, and then he went away, he moved back to Florida. That's when I was like, okay, I'm going to try to figure this out.
Yeah.
You know. And so, you know, you kind of start you find Madlib, and then what was like, how did you start to learn how to chop, and what did you first use in order to start creating your music?
The first thing I used, so I had GarageBand, and then I was using Logic for a little bit, but I didn't really like the interface of it. It was kind of, I mean, it had like a lot of really good sounds, but I found it kind of hard to use.
Yeah.
So then, after doing research and like learning about the whole world of like the Adult Swim stuff and like that whole like LA scene.
Yeah.
I learned that a lot of the people making beats that I liked were using Ableton. So I was able to get Ableton and just started experimenting, warping, chopping, and just kind of trial and error.
What was so the first time I had Ableton was just the free Ableton that came with the MPD that I ordered. What was your experience with Ableton the first time? Like, how did you start to, even when the first time you open it, if you show somebody who's never looked at that program, it's daunting.
Yeah.
You know, the first time you see it, you're like, what on earth? So how did you start to learn how to use that software?
I remember the first time I opened it when I saw the clip view. I was like, what is this? And I avoided that for the first like year and a half that I used the program. So when I first started, I think I was just dropping in like audio files and samples into the other I don't know what the view is called.
Arrangement view.
Arrangement view.
Yeah.
Doing that and just chopping, and like it was really cool because like I was never able to like warp samples on Logic. So like being able to actually slow down a sample and like or like keep it in time and like slow down the tempo.
Yeah.
That was cool. And then just messing around with drum kits and like slowly learning how to like make everything fit together. Because like learning how to like have it into like a 4/4.
Yep,
or, like,
exactly.
Make it fit. Because I would play it out, but like it might not be correct. Because I would never like use a metronome. I still don't a lot of the time.
Yeah, I don't either. I just kind of make it happen. You know?
Yeah, so it was a lot of just like learning how to use it and messing around.
I remember when I didn't know, when I was learning how to make a drum rack for the first time, and I didn't realize that you could put an arpeggiator like on, you know, a thing and make it go
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out, are these guys going like this? Like, how are they drumming so fast? You know, this was in 2009 when I was like, how in the world, like 2010, I was like, how are you, what are they doing? And then this is when videos started to slowly creep up on YouTube. Kill Paris was putting a lot of stuff out. The first thing I ever looked up in Ableton was how to make a white noise build. Was how do you make that?
Oh,
how do you
like
make
a rise?
Yeah. How do you make that? Because I liked EDM when I first started wanting to learn how to make stuff. I wanted to make not like growly dubstep, but I wanted to make like big room synth combined with
like really
dubstep.
technical stuff.
Yeah, like really bright and pretty, happy kind of stuff, I guess. And so figuring that out was, and then like you said, all these videos started to surface for me, anyways, and I was like, What? And so you said you avoided the clip view for a little while. How did you work your way towards using the clip view?
One day I finally just figured out how to use it. Like, I think I was like, I was always unsure how to like use it from like taking your arrangement and putting it into clip.
Yeah.
So one day I just started making a beat from the clip view. And then like realized I was like, whoa, this is cool because like it's really free. Like you can like make this and combine it with other elements. Like I know you do that a bunch.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just doing that, and I found out that Knowledge does that a lot. So I was like, because he does a lot of beat switch ups within the beats. So I realized that he's changing clips. So I'm like, I got to learn how to do that. So it was kind of just practicing with that.
Yeah, just eventually being like, well, I'll just do
eventually
this.
figuring out how everything works.
And so do you use a keyboard? What kind of gear do you use when you're making something?
Right now, I'm using an MPD 32.
Okay, right on.
And then I have like a Mini Nova Synth.
Okay.
And then SP 404.
Okay, nice, yes. And like what I love about when you have those different options is like take one away and put another one in front of you and see what you can do with those tools. Like I used to have a MIDI fighter. You know, they're just like the little grid. They look like arcade buttons. Yeah. And I used to make beats where all I could have was what was on those 16, buttons right here, and that was all I would use. So
is that the white one?
You can like tilt. You can like do all kinds of crazy stuff with them. So they're just a black square box, and they'll have different buttons on them.
With those like circular buttons.
Yeah, mine was black and yellow, and it was the Pro, and so it had like a thing you could go side to side, and then two knobs that you could map. My buddy's is the MIDI Fighter 3D, and you can like turn it, and it does like effects to your beat. So if you want to beat repeat and go brrrr, like that when you turn it. Yeah. Kind
of like the Chaos.
Yeah, like I saw a thing the other day. My buddy Labrie has it. He goes by Breezomatic, and he has this little device where it maps your hand movements. And so, like, if you go like this, it might be a beat repeat. If you go like this, it might be like a fade.
That's cool.
If you snap over it, it can like cut all the lows out. You can set all these things yourself. Dang. He told me it's like $50. So
that's really
I gotta find out.
I bet that was really good for live.
Yeah, he used it that day actually. So it was cool to like watch him just wave his hand.
Yeah, that's like that makes the show a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, man, you need to do this in pitch black with just a one glow in the dark.
That's
glove.
exactly what I was thinking.
And just that's all really people see. Make it a whole experience.
Yeah.
So as you're learning, like I said, I started off making, trying to make EDM. Realized I didn't like that. Didn't want to do it anymore as I was getting older. What was kind of like? What was your first? Was your first thing like? I'm gonna make some hip hop beats.
I think it started as like trying to make those like Mad Lib type beats.
Okay.
But over time, it just got a little bit more experimental and like. I never set myself to one genre.
Okay.
I was like, I'm going to make what I make, and if I'm feeling it in the moment, then that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, what is like the preparatory process? Like, do you just wake up, sit down, and see what happens? What goes on?
I think I make the best beats like right after I wake up.
Okay.
Or, like as I'm drinking my coffee.
Yeah.
Just like kind of like just put it all out and then have it down, close it, and then like later in the day or next day, then I'll look at it and be like, because then you get a different perspective on it, you know? Yeah. So that's usually my process. I feel like I make the best beats when I do that.
I feel like we've all experienced making a beat at night that you think is super awesome, and then you wake up the next morning and listen to it. And you're like, oh, nah.
Yeah.
Delete.
Yeah, so stuff.
Yeah. So
that might sound, whoa, this sounds crazy right now.
And then you wake up the next morning, you're like,
no,
this wasn't what I thought it was at all.
But I never delete stuff. I'll keep the clips or like export those clips, and then. Lately, I've been doing like a lot of resampling.
Yeah.
So I'll like take a clip from a whole nother beat and like put it into clip mode and warp it in a different way.
I've never even thought about
recycling.
Doing that. Yeah, seeing what you can do.
Yeah.
Like last night, we did a little thing down at J&J's, and I just took a bunch of clips from all of my a bunch of my tracks. Just I took like hi-hats, like things like that, so that I could do those kind of switch ups you're talking about, but it wasn't anything too aggressive.
Right.
It's more kind of like. That kind of
subtle
stuff. Yeah, bouncing around in the headphones and that kind of thing. And that was a lot of fun. And then I had like some horns and a couple little just like voice things that I put in there. But I did a lot more experimental sound stuff last night than I'd ever done before, where I made sure that the tracks that I was playing of mine had the longer intros and transitions to where I could really have some fun with that and mess around and down in the basement and have a good time.
Oh yeah. It's a cool spot.
So yeah, we'll be back up there next month. So that's gonna be a fun time again.
Awesome.
So you're starting off kind of making these beats and then not allow. So how do you kind of allow to just, some people have such a hard time not labeling themselves as a certain genre in any music.
Yeah.
Whether you're rock and roll, whether you're blues, jazz, hip hop, whatever. So how do you kind of combat with that in your head or kind of tell yourself that it's okay?
I usually just say experimental.
Yeah.
I'll usually start as someone's like, all right, what type of music do you make? I'm like, hip hop, electronic, experimental. Go check me out.
Yeah, because I feel like you take
it's hard to label yourself.
You take it seriously. You know what I mean? But some people take it almost too seriously.
Because then I feel like you kind of restrain yourself if you define yourself as one genre. So I like to keep myself open.
Yeah.
Because I love all genres. So like I even have like some jazz, like hard punk beats, or like some stuff like that. Like I'm doing everything.
Yeah. So if let's say one day you wake up, you put out this track. This track's got 100,000 plays. All of a sudden, you're getting hit up by who knows, Stone's Throw, all these cats, and they're like, "Yo, man, we want you to make more of this."
Yeah.
You're gonna keep making more of that.
Yeah. I think if I am liking that sound, then I'll try to have an album where I'd focus on that one sound.
Do you think people put too much stock into what they think other people want to hear? As far as
I think
production goes?
In a lot of ways. There are a lot of people that do it freely, but I feel like a lot of people try to pander to what people want to hear, just because they want to get views.
Yeah, and like one thing that I'm guilty of is my beats, primarily the ones I put out anyways, kind of have the same similar vibe. Beachy, kind of hip-hop, funky kind of stuff. What happened is I noticed people starting to dance and have fun, and that was getting me shows. And I was like, ooh, I want to do more of that, because that's what's getting me the shows, and that's what's getting me paid, and that's what's fun is the money and then, playing and all that stuff. But then, just like you're saying, I started to get kind of like sick of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I didn't never want to just like make one type of music. And like now when I'd sit down, I question myself. Like I'll start off and I'll be like, I don't know, should I really be wasting my time making this jazzy stuff? Like, like I know nobody really, but then I was like, wait a minute, nah, you gotta stop thinking like that. Sit down. If it sounds dope, finish it. Finish it through. You've got tomorrow to make something else.
Yeah.
And then once I started meeting other people like Sanford Black and other cats like you and Memory and other people were showing up to listen to that type of music, that's when I was like, yes, cool.
The non-dance stuff.
Yeah. And it's not. It's like more of a. It's that music to listen and chill to. And or really get deep into.
Yeah.
It's not about this. It's just about. The thought while you're listening to that music that it puts you into, I
think it's important to have a wide range of sound. I mean, you see that with a lot of artists that from album to album, they'll change their sound completely.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have that wide range of sound.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorite artists? Anywhere, across it.
Flying Lotus, Teebs. Lately, been listening to a lot of Ariel Pink.
I've never heard Ariel Pink.
He's like kind of like weird, like his fans call him lo-fi, but he's like garage rock.
Okay.
So like he does all his stuff like on tape.
Okay.
It's really like lo-fi sound. Like you wouldn't say like lo-fi beats, but it's like the lo-fi sound.
Yeah.
But he's like kind of weird punk.
Okay.
But super into Bad Brains.
Okay. Yeah.
Super into all types of jazz.
Did you ever listen to Mount Marcy?
No.
Okay. Because that was a dude who was making beats, and then he kind of started to do like an acoustic type lo-fi singing type thing, which worked out well too.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe similar to what you're talking about, but just more in the acoustic genre rather than the punk. Yeah, man. I mean, it's so many. Most of the time when I ask producers, like Flying Lotus, a lot of them, that one pops up.
That was one that really inspired me a lot.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of like hard for it not to. Like I saw I don't even remember who it is that used it. Oh, it was a guy who went by Knit Grit. And Knit Grit made some really wild dubstep, trippy kind of stuff. But he used Flying Lotus's visuals.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, oh my gosh.
The new visuals, the weird
it was
Kuso stuff.
It wasn't. It was it was from the album, and I feel bad I can't remember this because I actually have it. Where it's a guy's. It's the face on the front. It's got like rays shooting off of
You're
it.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he was using visuals from that.
Oh yeah.
And so that was a wild one, man.
Yeah, he's definitely got the visuals down. I've seen him live one time.
Yeah. Shout out to my buddy Kyle Downs, who I used to work with at LSA. He bought me that for Secret Santa.
Yeah.
I was like,
I need to get that album.
I was like, this is dope, dude.
I know I've ran up the plays on that, but I need to get that for sure.
I just got Leaf Beach's vinyl. 2 weeks ago, finally
it
got
looks super nice.
Yeah, I got that in the mail. I haven't even opened it yet.
Yeah.
I rearranged my setup to where my record player is right next to my mixer now, and I finally figured out how to use the RCA inputs on my mixer, which it was super easy. I just was lazy about it, and so now I've got my record plugged into my mixer, and that I can play the records right there out of my studio monitors. So I've been nerding out, putting a record on, and then trying to just drum over the beats and thinking what if I did something weird like that, you know, where I put a record on and then played over that and then somehow, did that.
That's
and
really
pulled
cool.
the
That's
somehow
old school stuff.
Yeah, something like that, you know. And
I think that's a good way to dig if you're completely stuck.
Yeah.
You're I can't think of a rhythm to put on this. Just throwing on a record. Close your eyes, start drumming on the pads. Something will come to you.
And the other night I was doing it, and I put on some jazz. Because I was trying to find some horns. I wanted something to put in kind of the background, a sample behind this. Because none of the little one-shots and stuff that I had were really working.
Yeah.
And I can't play horns. It's just the way it is. But then I found myself turning down my beat and just listening to John Clemmer for the next 45 minutes, just listening to that record. Yeah, man. So did you you've mentioned jazz, but you never played in a band.
No.
So see, I played just for fun stuff.
Yeah.
What drew you to the solitude of the beat making lifestyle?
Having free time.
Yeah.
As a kid. I don't know. I was just really into it. I was really drawn to it. I'd always loved music, loved drums, and for me that was just a good outlet to carry that into, and also not annoy my mom.
Nice. Yeah.
With the drums. So at night I'd have the headphones on, you know, all that. But I think I was always just drawn to having that musical outlet and being able to create, and especially with using those music programs, because you can do whatever you want on it, you know.
Did it kind of become a healthy addiction in a way?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
maybe not monetarily.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of money on equipment, but I think it overall it's definitely improved my life. I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah. Throughout my relationship life, I've had girls be like, why don't you have a couch? I'd be like, well, couch has been invested into those speakers, that keyboard, that computer, that little area in my room. I'm like, this is really the only place I sit.
Yeah.
If I go sit out there, I'm not sitting in here doing what I need to be doing.
Yeah,
so
if I have homies come over and they're like, yo, let's watch some TV.
I bust out the blow-up furniture for that.
I don't have a TV, bro. Let's play some Xbox. I don't have an Xbox, bro. It's that mini Nova right there.
I got the monitor. my television's my monitor. You know, my TV is my monitor.
Yeah.
It's true, though. And the homies don't want to come hang out at my place anyways. You know, we're grown up. We're grown ups. So we can go outside or something, you know?
Exactly.
Well, there you go, folks.
That was weird. Production issue.
No, we were trying out one of our new sound bites. When we say something, we'll have a pow from now on. We were just trying out the acoustic one right there. Yes, I that's always something that I have struggled with. I'm a very extroverted person. I like being around people, but I also really like making music.
Yeah.
And so I've always I've had this thing where I have to go home. I go home, especially on a Friday night. I'm off work. I'm like, oh, my gosh, it's been a long week. I've been working. It's been a good one. You know, I'm going to go home, and then I'm hitting the town with the bros.
Yeah.
You know, going to go see the girlfriend, all that fun stuff. And then I'm like, no, you got to put in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Put in 2 hours, then you can go. It'll all still be there, you know, but you got to do this. So how do you, being in school like now, being in college and all that, how do you maintain focus?
With music, between school and work, I really haven't had much time lately. But Honestly, in a way, that kind of helps my creativity because I won't make music for like a week plus.
Yeah.
And then when I have a moment, I'm like, I have all these ideas. I'm like, all right, now it's time to really lay it all down. So I'm not like every day, I'm not like, all right, I got to dedicate an hour, because then I feel like I put myself in a box where I'm like, I got to force myself to make music. But like when I have all the ideas saved up, then once I have that free moment, then I lay it all out and like, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I'm more excited to make music, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think those breaks are big time, especially like, I think some people they'll make a beat and it's a great beat they've just made. They do everything, they got it mastered, and then they're like, okay, close that, and then they open something new to start right away. I used to do that, and I've realized now it's like, no, put the beat away.
That's a problem I have.
Go outside, go listen to some other stuff, get away from it, come back in 2 days, 3 days, maybe even a week, and then listen to it. And if it's still hitting you like it is now, then you got something good. Yeah,
that's something I've learned over time. You got to let it sit for a little bit. Like if you're
marinate.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to go back to it. Like I'll keep stuff open, or like keep loops on there, and I'll export like a draft of it, but come back like even a month later and like have a totally new perspective and like, oh, I can add this right here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I had something recently. I just put out a new beat, and I thought it was done, and then I started going to the final mastering process. I was like, this sounds so muddled, and it's not loud enough, and the waveform's like this big, and it already sounds terrible. And so I took my time and I started taking parts out. I was like, well, maybe that's muddling it up. And if I took that sample out and I didn't miss it, then that's when I realized, okay, that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
If I'm not missing it, my listener's not gonna miss it. Because then I didn't even know it was there to begin with. You know, and so that's something that I definitely do, is go and check those pieces out and take them in and out. So how did you kind of start to work your way into playing some live stuff? How did that occur?
Friends.
Yeah.
Friends that have the connection to
it's exactly how it works.
Put me onto a show, which was awesome. It's great to have that opportunity. Got a few homies in Austin who have helped me get shows there. And then up here, appreciate that. I actually have a show coming up this weekend on Saturday at Killer's Tacos.
Nice.
I think it's starting at like 6.
Okay.
But it's going to be a Halloween party, costumes.
Nice,
and then a bunch of different people playing.
Very cool.
Ranging from my beats to like, I think, a couple punk bands playing.
That's how they do it at Killers. They let it all
dude.
come out, man.
It should be a great time.
Yeah, I'll be up there on the patio with a band called Ariel and the Culture. So I'll be up there from 7 to 8 on Saturday as well. And then I'm going to go, the homie Lofty Beats is playing with Mind Design on Friday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, they are.
Kiefer and Jerry Paper and some other cats.
Oh, my God, dude. I've been bumping the Jerry Paper album all week.
Yeah, they're going to, and
Tristan's playing there too, right?
Yeah, it's him and Fasho. Lofty will probably play first, but one of my favorite things is that on the very bottom of it, right, like on the same flyer as Stone's Throw, baby, it says in association with the Breakfast Boys.
I saw that. I noticed that like the other day. I was like, that's tight.
Like, dude,
I love that. Like, y'all are getting on. Like, it's so great.
It's one of those things where you kind of like, you don't want to shine about it, but then you realize you're like, oh, yo, dude, this is really tight.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, I was just stoked that it's like, yo, that's like a representation of all the homies, of like everybody, where it's like, hey, because it's really just one big collective of friends who like to hang out and make beats. Right. That's really all the Breakfast Boys. So I don't even know who started calling us that. Somebody just did it one day and it stuck. Yeah. So we were like, cool. But yeah, man, that's what's up. Playing up at Killers, that'll be tight.
Yeah.
Are you going to be playing, do you know when your set is?
I don't at the moment, but I know it starts at 6. I'll probably be one of the earlier sets.
Right.
So just come through at 6, get some tacos, drinks, wear a costume.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Say what's up.
Yeah, and if you because I'll be up there setting up, but if you're not on by 8 o'clock, I'll definitely come.
I'll
out
let
and
you
check
know what's
it out.
up with that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've gone to Killers. I've seen many a show there. I've got a buddy who I also play music with who makes horror folk. Ridiculous. So
I'll be posting about it later on this week once I have a little bit more information about that.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, dude, like I told you, 45 minutes flies by pretty quick up here in the studio, man. So, were you nervous at all? Did you get nervous?
No,
yeah.
Homie.
That's what I like to hear.
It's good to talk to you.
Some people come up and they're like, oh, man, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know how to answer. So yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, no, that was great, man.
That's what's up, man. So do you have any new music coming out? I know we talked about where we can find it. We'll repeat that again, but do we have any new stuff in the works that's gonna be
definitely
released?
have a bunch of stuff in the works. Like I said, going back and just editing, mixing, but expect some stuff within the next couple months for sure.
That's what's up, dude. That's what's up. The last question I want to ask you too, and this is just a funny question right here, is has your beat making ever affected your relationship life, sir?
Wait, I'm trying to think of one case. Yeah. No, not really, but I had this beat tape, and one of the titles was a girl's name who wasn't my girlfriend. And she was like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "No one."
It's just a name.
Yeah.
Just like Layla. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It was nothing, though. It was just a name I liked.
Yeah.
You know, like you write a love song about an imaginary girl. It's like kind of like that. Like the beat was kind of lovey-dovey.
Lucy
so
is like one that so many
yeah.
people have used you know, throughout a bunch of songs.
But
man.
other than that, I think all my friends and girlfriends have appreciated what I do.
That's what's up. That's what we need more of, friends and girlfriends that appreciate the music, man. When I was watching Bureaucratic, he got done and he was like, "Man, this show's just a bunch of like really nice dudes and their girlfriends."
Really,
and
the community is great.
Everybody.
Like everybody's so nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's hard to find an angry person in like the chill hop lo-fi community. They usually don't hang around that type of music.
Yeah.
So, you know, not that we don't want you to. I mean, if you're angry, come hang out with us.
Hey, come through and mosh.
Yeah.
Lo-fi beats.
We'll mosh up. You know,
I encourage it.
We can do the producer head nod to it. Me and Lofty have done it like real hard before at Harvest House when Sanford was playing. This woman was like, "Stop!" She was like, "I'm a chiropractor. Stop doing it." Like, no, this is good business for you, lady.
Yeah.
You need more producers bobbing their necks. Well, hey man, once again, thanks for coming out. And one more time, where can we get your music? Where can we hear it?
You can find that on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Just search JKay, JKay.
All right, folks, you heard it right here. JKay in the house tonight. We were talking lo-fi beats, how the music works, how we learn, how we develop, you know, and how we get some shows. Who would have known? Friends, right? Connections. That's the way it works. Yep. Y'all tune in next week right here on DentonRadio.com and well into November. I've got a stacked lineup in November, folks. It's going to be a good time. Simus Davis Jr. is going to be in the studio for the first time in November. That's the way it works. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we are also going to have back in the studio for first time in over 2 years, Class Action. I'm happy to see them back making music. They're fantastic. So y'all stick around for Ellie Bell and the Denton Vibe. I will see y'all on Sunday for Sunday Brunch right here on DentonRadio.com. Peace.
Peace.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.